As we move into hat making season, I thought it would be a really great idea to share with you how I work a basic top-down crochet hat. That's basically one that's worked from the crown to the band. Well, that's coming up. My name is Brittany, and I'm your guide to better crochet and knitting because I believe yarn does more than make pretty things. I craft because it occupies my hands and it calms my mind. I love the process, and something pretty is the result. I want that for you too. Here, we love yarn, we love to learn, and we truly believe yarn can do more for us than make pretty things. Begin your hat with 4 chains. Now, the number of double crochets you add to the first chain will depend on the size you're making. This pattern is available in 7 different sizes, ranging from preemie to men's, so please refer to the link in the description for specific instructions for these sizes. I'm working the tween size, so I'll have 9 double crochets in the first chain. By the way, those remaining 3 chains count as the first stitch of the round. In these crown increase rounds, you will always chain 3 at the beginning of the round, which will count as your first stitch of that round. But on this second round, it's a little bit different. So you'll need to increase every single stitch for round 2, but to make the round a little neater, I like to pair this chain 3, which acts as a stitch, at the end of the round. So you'll make your chain 3 and then go ahead and make 2 double crochets in each stitch. Now keep in mind that I'll refer to this 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, I'll refer to that as an increase. So just know that when I say increase, I'm talking about making 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. All right, now at the end of the round, find the V at the base of the chain 3 and work a double crochet there. So we can pair that up and we have an increase in that stitch as well. Now check your stitch count to make sure you're on track with the pattern. For the tween size, you'll have 20 stitches at the end of the round, but it is different for all 7 sizes. Okay, for round 3, you'll chain 3, which will count as your first stitch of the round. In this round, for all 7 sizes, you'll increase every other stitch. In other words, you'll make 1 double crochet in between your increases. And when you get to the end of this round, you'll join with a slip stitch to your 3rd chain. Now the remaining crown rounds follow the same basic pattern. For each additional increasing round, you'll make 1 more double crochet in between your increases. So on the previous round, we had 1 stitch in between them. On the next one, we'll have 2. On the one after that, we'll have 3, and so on. Keep in mind that each size has a different number of total crown rounds, but they all do follow the same general pattern. Every round will begin with a chain 3, which will count as your first stitch of the round, and at the end of each round, you'll join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain. So for the tween size, I'm working 6 total increasing crown rounds, and in that 6th and final round, there are 4 double crochets in between my increases. So refer to the pattern for the stitch count and the crown instructions for the size you're working on. What we'll cover next is working the sides of the hat. Now, no matter which size you're working on, you'll have the same repeat. We'll chain 3 at the beginning of each of our side rounds, and that'll count as the first stitch of our round. Then we'll make 1 double crochet into every single stitch. And at the end of the round, you guessed it, you'll join with a slip stitch to your 3rd chain. Now the number of times you repeat this round is completely dependent on the size you're working on. It's different for every size. So again, refer to the pattern for this information. Now if you're working along with me on the tween size, you'll repeat this round a total of 5 times. Now for the band. The first round of the band for each size is the same as for the sides. So we'll chain 3, double crochet in every stitch, and join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain. In the second round of the band, you'll start forming that ribbed texture with front post and back post double crochet stitches. By the way, this second round of the band are the same for all 7 sizes. So at the beginning of your band rounds, you'll chain 2, which will not count as a stitch for these rounds, and then work a front post double crochet in your first stitch, which, don't forget, is your chain 3. So front post double crochet around your chain 3. Then back post double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat. Front post double crochet in the next, followed by a back post double crochet. When you get to the end of your round, you'll join with a slip stitch to your first front post double crochet to wrap things up. Now that last round, the second round of our band, is repeated a certain number of times based on the size you're making. So for the tween size, again, I will work that last round a total of 4 more times, but go ahead and refer to the instructions for the size you're working on to get that specific number. Now when the band is complete, following the instructions for the size you're working, go ahead and fasten off and weave in your ends. That's all there is to it. Thank you so much for watching this episode of B.Hooked, the place where we love yarn, we love to learn, and we believe yarn can do more for us than just make pretty things. Subscribe for continued progress, and I'll see you in the next one.